So what do you reckon? Do you want to choose one of our props? The biscuits are not props, just to warn you. They are just your hospitality.
Oh, well, what can I say? Thank you to me.
Thank you to you more.
You and me more.
Yes.
I'm going to go with the block.
The block?
Oh, it's so much heavier than I thought.
I call her Jenny.
Jenny.
From the block. Yeah. So, do you know much about these blocks? Have you seen them?
I remember you running past. I was there when you got them.
Yeah.
And I remember the vague idea about them, but I'm not sure I ever actually saw the full on action of what ended up happening.
Yeah. So one of our awesome volunteers, I took it to her because Anna is really, really artistic, and I thought these blocks are just so distinctive. We could do like a geocaching thing with them. Come the Easter holidays, where I want to take a break. Charlie will have finished off, and we still want to set stuff up because family still can't travel. They'll be off, but they still can't do very much. So we set up a big treasure hunt, and I got Anna to come up with a concept of how she wanted to decorate them all. So we had 3 different competitions all happening at the same time. The first one there on the outside, it was actually a Highland coo eating a wee bit of a flower there. And there was 22 of them, so that then they were numbered on one side, and then on the other side, that's the corresponding letter, the code for the corresponding letter, and the kids then with their families had to go around and find as many as they could. We set them a challenge. Now I thought probably what would happen is they would get maybe 5 or 6 each over the 10-mile spread that we had. And they would get the ones closest to their houses, and then they would phone up their mates and say, okay, I'll share with you, and then we can share the prize. Aye, that sort of thing. I'm amazed that so many families completed the whole thing. But then there's a whole pile of other families that just took part for the fun of it, just with however many that they had time. So it was over 8 hours on average that it took a family to do this thing, and they generally did it over at least 2 days. And so some families cycled around the whole thing.
Okay. Now,
I would love to know what the mileage of that cycle was.
Well, 22 is a lot.
Yeah. And they were all over and right out to Midlothian, so right out of the city and everything. So I love it. And so we went to committee, of which you're part, and we said to committee, hey, I hope you don't mind resourcing this, but could we double the prize money? Because like they took part in this so amazingly. I wanted to be able to reward them so much more than I was expecting. And some families are just like, they've only been dipping their toe, they've just been coming along for a little while. Other families have been like around for ages, and it's been really nice to be able to honour both of them, to have the committee there just absolutely backing it, to have the volunteers there saying, yeah, I'll spend several hours creating this alongside you, getting the concept and decorating all the tiles and stuff and just making it really funky. And yeah, it's just been really, really positive.
Yeah.
What a great way to engage everyone, and because they wanted to be engaged.
Yeah. That's great. Well, it's a novel idea, isn't it? I mean, geocaching is funny because it's kind of quite an old concept. I feel like it might be coming back soon, but it's fun to have like a little private one, a little secret one. So. Yeah,
because it didn't go up on any website or anything. Yeah. We just put our own maps together, and again, Anna did all of that as well.
Yeah,
I took photos. She made them up into maps and like dropped pins all over these 22 different pins. Where we nod to Charlie, the clue was, we love Charlie Banks. And a number of people confirmed that they do indeed love Charlie Banks, which was brilliant.
Slightly shocking.
Slightly, but it's nice affirmation. I mean, I would take it.
Yeah, well, he had to.
I would have had to find more bricks to make it with if it was we love Andy Chittick.
That's true.
But not much more.
No. Might not have been true either, but...
Well, I've got a bit of self-love, I'd like to think.
Self-love. Well, what? Anyway.
Yeah. So,
next thing.
Yeah. Well, what do you want to choose next, mate?
Well, I'm going to go with a baton because my guess is that it's to do with the passing on of Charlie Banks. Well, not the passing of Charlie Banks.
So let's just
the
stop
passing
right there.
on of Charlie Banks. So yeah, tell us a little bit about the baton and what's been happening with Charlie and what's the plan.
Yeah, Charlie's been superb. And we did our last one together last time. And it's a shame because I kind of feel we're just getting into the groove of this kind of conversation. And Charlie's such a natural at doing it. And he's just like, just a lot of fun to do these things with. And we were just getting into it, and that's him finished off. But that that last month again has just been typifying how he's been this last year with us in the uncertainty. He's just thrown himself in and just given everything, and he's handed off well. Emily's taken up a bunch of his stuff, and I really love how she's taking on this coordination role. She and Anna are working together on craft stuff that they're going to be doing next for the next term with their craft groups that they've been running. There's a huge amount of preparation going into that because we can start doing that in person, indoors, which is brilliant. So they're already tailoring things, and Charlie set them up really well. She and him have worked really well on what we're going to do next for some club ideas and these various other things. He's just been round all the parents. He's been round church groups. He's recorded messages for various groups of folks, not just the stuff that we do, but like so many different people have felt Charlie said goodbye to me.
Yeah.
And I just think that's superb. So I just thought, passing the baton on, Charlie's done an excellent job, and we're really grateful for the way that he finished strong, finished well.
And where's he going? Because people might not know that.
That's true, actually, because that wasn't even confirmed by this time last year. He's going to, last month.
It's all this. Yeah, it's just a long time. Last a day.
Yeah. He's going to Stirling Baptist. He's going to be their youth worker up there.
Yep.
And more power to him. That's going to be a brilliant job for him. He's in the process of moving up there and starts within the next week.
Yeah.
So he's buzzing about it, and it's all just segued really nicely over from us. High five. Maybe we should give him the baton on up to Stirling now and getting underway up there.
Yeah. Exciting stuff. Great. What's about the dollar?
Dollar. Well, this is the thing that we've been working on since a couple of videos ago when we were sharing vision of taking on a new full-time staff worker for Southeast Edinburgh. So not a Charlie post at all, a new post that we've been creating for a more experienced young life worker to come into the area. And so one of the things that we as a committee have been working through this whole idea of, well, let's raise the money from within so that then we have this steady local budget that we can pour in to local growth. And whether people come and go and move on to new roles, we'll still have that money there. We can invest it into new folks. And so it's been a real wonderful adventure just watching how all the folks within committee have been really buzzing about this. It's been really something that they've grown in the task of doing. It's a faith stretching exercise. It's a strength stretching exercise. And you've been involved in this as well. What are some of the conversations or the unexpected boosts that you've seen in this last couple of months?
Yeah, I think I had like this I knew we would be able to raise it, but I didn't know why, and I wasn't going to be the one that necessarily had the majority of the contacts either, but I was just so confident that it wouldn't be that big a deal. And as you said, like it's crazy. Like we're almost there. Like we're just short of what we need, and we hope that will come in soon. But I think one thing I've been really encouraged by, particularly, was one of the contacts I have through work. One of the clients we work with, he isn't a Christian, but he grew up at Liberton High. And, I was just talking through a little bit about, this stuff and some of the other video stuff we do with Young Life and the work that we're involved in. And he was like, oh, that's really, I could get behind that. And I was like, wow, well, yeah, that would be amazing. Like, we're just fundraising for this new position. I told him a little bit about it. And I said there was match funding available and things like that. And he's like, yeah, I'll drop $1,000 on that. And I was like, what? Like, it was crazy. Like, it was one of those like real, it wasn't, I don't want to say I didn't say it completely innocently. I thought, you know what, it's worth mentioning it because this guy's doing all right and he grew up in Liberton. But for him then to do that was incredible. And especially as I think almost even the trust in the way in which we move and touch kids' lives in the high schools. Ultimately, if their life becomes better because of the work we do and we plant a seed, and maybe it's now and maybe now or never, ultimately that's then over to God. That almost seeing his trust in us, that it was like, he's not Christian. He doesn't follow a lot of that stuff. And it was just really encouraging to see like the work that we're doing is kind of can even affect those who don't see the godly side of it, can invest in it. Yeah. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Because we have such excellent relationships with the high schools and with the local police. and with so many other things, because they see the fun, the safety, the adventure, the leadership potential. They see the long-term relational development that we're willing to take. And like you say, it's not conditional, and in response back from them, they can pick or choose whether or not it's their truth. We know we're confident in our own truth, but they can decide for themselves whether or not they want to take us on any further. We're just unconditionally loving them and being a constant presence in their lives. And it's great to see that affirmation that quality really matters. Beyond a faith barrier or beyond, it knocks down all barriers, and building up relationships of trust and all these other things that have come from that with people who otherwise are investing in education or other kind of safety or other kind of family groups and these sorts of things. It really is a united effort. I love the fact that we work with so many other organizations in our area to do just our bit as part alongside it too. It's great.
So I think as committee and all of us have just been very encouraged by the response from the States and from UK givers, donors as well, who this is maybe the first time where they've looked to support a role like this, rather than just giving to a big charity, which is sort of more the UK way. It's more like we're going to give to Cancer UK or whatever and let them to do, whereas actually kind of, this idea of giving to one very clear, specific thing and actually seeing a real outcome come from that, I think that's really cool. And I think, it's cool to see people who we know who are starting to kind of get behind that, especially. So and as of right now, Stop Press, we're only £2,000 short of our first year target, which is incredible. In less than 6 months. That's about 5 months fundraising that we've been doing, and to be almost fully funded with match funding in place. So for that last £2,000, that's match funding in place. So we really are just on the cusp of seeing this as a reality. And like you said, I think your part and just like blind faith. Oh yeah, this is definitely, I don't know how, but it's definitely going to work. I bang on about this sort of stuff all the time as staff, and so people sort of say, well, that's Andy's role as a staff worker, but then just to have someone, a local volunteer who's invested in the community and wants to empower others. As a volunteer, you getting on board and saying that, I think that has made a massive difference to everyone else sort of in your role saying, it would probably can. Maybe it will work,
Nice.
Great. Right, final prop. I don't even know what to call that.
You can call him Alan.
That would be too predictable for you.
That's right. It's a big old Allen key.
Yeah, it is.
So, that's just the joy. Again, Emily coming to us and say, hey, Andy, can you help me and Brad, and we'll just get a bunch of folks together, set up 9 Square again and start doing stuff outdoors as soon as the outdoor stuff opened back up again just a couple of weeks ago, so that we can relaunch and get kids back in person in Scotland just as soon as possible. So she was like actively making roles, making things happen for kids to come back in. Easter egg treasure hunt, just a lot of fun, running more than one session at a time just to get the small number of kids that we could in at a time legally, getting them back out, resetting it all back up again, and pulling together the adults to make it work and the kids to make it work as well. And just seeing the leaders with pink sparkly Stetsons, and it wasn't my idea. You're going to love that, haven't you?
Yeah. Rachel Willis wasn't even here to push that forward with her bag of fun.
No, Rachel Willis's bag of fun was 3,500 miles away. Did I ever inflict the pink sparkly Stetsons on you?
We did some crazy things, but I don't think that was one of them. We dodged that bullet.
Tell you, Emily's got ways and means. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So seeing the kids being able to interact that way, I'm really, really enjoying it, and seeing the amount of work she put in up front, and then also just all the liaison that takes to do right now with the risk assessments and all practical stuff just to get things booked, and just good communication with host venues. It's a lot of extra behind the scenes stuff, but she's just invested just as much in the practicality of the cleanup and like legally what's required right now to make that happen. It's not stopping anything from happening. But also huge credit must go out then to places like Liberton Kirk, who are putting a huge amount of investment in their staff and their time and in their resources to be able to say, right, everything is COVID safe right now.
Yeah.
Everything is COVID friendly. So that then there's a platform there that we as their partner organization just can come in as soon as possible and get underway. So with the 9 Square, for example, we've been able to run that 3 or 4 times, even in the last couple of weeks, and start seeing kids. And it's so I was joking with, there's this a wee guy called Leland. We really love him. He's really cool, but no one had ever seen him from here down. Nobody knew what height he was. Nobody knew anything about him except he's started to come to our online stuff. So on Zoom, they've only ever seen him from here up. And to see him coming in and starting meeting people in person and fitting in and things as well. 9 Square is such a great game for doing that because it's socially distant, but it's also, it's still, there's an element of social fun and social engagement in it.
Yeah.
So it's been a great way of starting to get people connected back up again.
Yeah.
And so I guess our big prayer is for this next month that legally we're compliant, but we are now finally in a point where indoors with the craft stuff and things and outdoors with some of this socially distant like sporting activity, we can at last get back to meeting kids in person.
Yeah.
It's been a long, lonely 4 months where we haven't been able to do anything like this at all. The kids are missing it and we're missing it. But I love the way that our volunteer leaders right now are just saying, right, we're going to make this work with kids and their whole families. We're going to get people together. We're going to start being social and community again. And at the heart of it all is this amazing story of life that's transformational. Mm-hmm. It's going to transform the individuals, and every one of their community are going to be impacted by that. Yeah. And I love it. And that's my prayer for the next two months.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been cool to watch. You know, I think as a committee, we're really encouraged. I think the family work and integration with them has been insane, the best ever. You know, 7 years of you banging on about it, probably longer, you know, finally seeing that fruit and you know, it's taken a global pandemic to happen, but, you know, really seeing leaders and volunteers really investing right through to the family and really meeting parents and knowing them, and the successes of Charlie as he heads off, and an exciting month ahead, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go. Let's go get them.